What to you represents the idea of fairness in this degenerate society that we live in? And I say degenerate because any society where you have the disparity of wealth that we have in this country is degenerate. In the literal sense, it is degenerating. It is not generating. It is not growing. It is ungrowing, degenerating. We live in a degenerate society. What constitutes fairness in a society like that? House Budget Bill H.R. 1 is wending its way through this corporate-owned Congress that we have. The budget proposes, as we've talked about this on the program, deep cuts in the women, infants, and children nutrition programs, deep cuts in international food and health aid. For example, 18 million people would immediately be cut off from a much-needed food stream. 4 million would lose access to malaria medicine, for example. This is what the Republicans see as sense. Food stamps are being attacked in this country, in this twisted welfare reform 2011 bill. That's another one. Now, while all this is going on, last year, 2010, corporate profits grew at their fastest rate since 1950, 60 years ago. At the same time, records were set in this country in the number of Americans who are on food stamps. The richest 400 Americans have more wealth than half of all American households combined. Now, we have 330 million people in this country. So that means 165 million people have less wealth than the top 400. At what point does distribution of wealth become so egregiously out of balance that there is a revolution? And the ultra-rich are disposed of. At what point? It's a question. You could look back at history and get some answers if you want to. 400 people in this country. And who do you suppose they are? You know some of the names. We've talked about them in this program. 400 people in this country have as much wealth as 165 million Americans. Can you comprehend that? I can't. I can't get my mind around that. 400 people versus 165 million. I can't. I simply cannot do it. When I was a kid, the population of the entire country was 165 million. The effective tax rate on the nation's richest people has fallen by half in the last 20 years. It's down 50%. And yet, the wealthy hire these brain-dead goddamn teabaggers to get out there and scream and fart and wheeze about they're tired of being taxed. The effective tax rate on every American in the country is the lowest it's been in, I don't know, decades. Pick a number. But on the wealthy, it's practically non-existent. Okay, it's there, but it's fallen by half in just the last 20 years. General Electric paid 0 tax dollars on profits of more than $14 billion. The banks, Bank of America, nothing. News Corp, the propaganda organization owned by the terrorist Rupert Murdoch, zip. Right down the list. Right down the list. Americans spend a third of their post-tax income on food, and they still run out. Poor Americans. Let's say 45 million Americans. That's how many of us now live in what the government euphemistically calls below the poverty line. 45 million live below the poverty. Really? Poor people. 45 million. Now, you know the number's higher than that. Of course you do.